The Yellowstone universe is about to shake things up in a way no one saw coming. Rumors are spreading fast, and they all point to one shocking twist. A major character, believed to be gone for good, is making a return. This isn't just a comeback. It's a complete game-changer. If you thought you knew the Dutton family story, think again. The next chapter, Yellowstone 1944, could rewrite everything we've come to believe about this legendary Western saga. The story of Yellowstone isn't just about a powerful ranching family. It's about survival, legacy, and the painful price of holding on to both. From the very beginning, the show pulled us deep into the world of the Duttons, a family who will do anything to protect their land in Montana. Over the seasons, we've watched John Dutton fight to keep control of the Yellowstone ranch while dealing with enemies from every direction, greedy developers, political threats, and even betrayal from within his own family. The stakes have always been high, and the cost of loyalty has never come cheap. But what makes Yellowstone truly special is how it stretches across generations. This isn't just one story, it's many, all connected by blood and land. Taylor Sheridan, the creator of the series, didn't stop with the original show. He built a whole universe that dives deep into the Dutton family's past. That started with 1883, a powerful prequel that showed how the Duttons first came to settle in Montana. We followed James and Margaret Dutton as they left everything behind in search of a new beginning, facing wild frontier dangers along the way. It was raw, emotional, and heartbreaking, especially with the story of their daughter Elsa, whose death would forever shape the family's connection to the land. Then came 1923, another gripping chapter, this time set between two world wars. Here we saw Jacob and Kara Dutton, played by Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren, take the reins of the ranch while the world around them changed fast. The series gave us Spencer Dutton, a tough, battle-hardened war veteran who became a fan favorite overnight. His journey across continents trying to get back home to Montana showed just how far the Duttons would go for each other. With every new show, the Yellowstone timeline has grown richer, more detailed, and full of secrets waiting to be revealed. These prequels haven't just filled in the blanks. They've added new depth to everything we thought we knew about the modern-day Duttons. Watching 1883 and 1923 made it clear that the fight for the land didn't start with John Dutton. It's been going on for generations, passed down like an old scar that never heals. Every decision made in the present ties back to sacrifices made in the past. That's why fans are so excited, and a little nervous, about what Yellowstone 1944 will bring. Because now we're moving into yet another chapter, and this one could change the game completely. The year 1944 is a turning point in American history. World War II was still raging, soldiers were overseas, and back home, the country was changing fast. If you think about what that means for the Duttons, the possibilities are endless. Maybe some of the younger family members went off to fight. Maybe the ranch faced threats from people trying to take advantage of the war. Maybe new alliances were formed, or old ones were broken. And with all of this happening, the return of a major character could flip the whole story upside down. That's what makes this moment so exciting. We're not just getting another prequel, we're stepping into a new timeline, one filled with questions, mysteries, and the chance to finally see how all the pieces connect. Yellowstone 1944 isn't just going to look back at history. It's going to make us question everything we thought we understood about the Dutton legacy. Imagine the sound of distant gunfire fading into the quiet of a Montana morning. The war isn't over yet, but for some, the fight is already shifting back home. This is where Yellowstone 1944 begins, not just with battles abroad, but with a storm brewing in the heart of America. While most prequels show how things start, 1944 is different. It drops us right in the middle of a country in transition, where nothing feels stable and no one comes home the same. The world in 1944 was holding its breath. World War II had been going on for years, and though victory felt close, it wasn't guaranteed. Families across the U.S. were waiting for letters or worse, telegrams. Farmlands were quiet, missing the strong backs that had gone to war. Even the Yellowstone Ranch, a symbol of power, tradition, and the Dutton legacy, wasn't untouched by this. That's why 1944 holds so much potential. It's not just another chapter, it's a crossroads. A moment when old values clash with new realities, and every decision carries the weight of both war and bloodline. We've never seen the Duttons in this kind of world before. The Montana of 1944 isn't the wild frontier of 1883, and it's not the rugged, roaring land of 1923. This is a quieter kind of danger, more political, more personal. Veterans returning from battle, towns changing, new money flowing in from war industries, and a nation asking what comes next. For a family like the Duttons, who've always defined themselves by their land and their strength, this moment in time will test everything they believe. What's most exciting about Yellowstone, 1944, is that we don't know yet who's at the center of it. The casting has been kept mostly secret, and Taylor Sheridan, known for playing his cards close, hasn't revealed much. But what we do know is that this story will follow the next generation of Duttons, likely the children or grandchildren of Jacob and Kara. That opens the door for characters who've only been mentioned in passing, or even ones we thought we'd never see again. And here's the twist. 1944 might not just be about moving forward. It could be about reaching back, reviving names we thought were lost to time. The setting of this series makes it the perfect stage for a surprising return, someone with deep ties to the family, someone whose presence could shift everything we've come to expect. The timeline places it between Spencer's journey and John Dutton Sr.'s early days, meaning we could be looking at characters who serve as bridges between these generations. But this isn't just about who shows up, it's about why. What is it about 1944 that makes it the perfect year to bring someone back? Maybe it's about unfinished business. Maybe someone presumed dead didn't die after all. Or maybe it's the kind of storytelling Sheridan is known for, letting the past sneak back in just when you think it's gone for good. Another possibility is that 1944 introduces a whole new lens through which we'll view the Dutton family. The show might not just show who's alive and who's dead. It might question the stories we've been told so far. Maybe the legends aren't as true as we thought. Maybe there were lies passed down to protect someone or something. That's why 1944 has the potential to change everything. Because it's not just a prequel, it's a re-examination. Every time a new Yellowstone series comes out, it adds another layer to the Duttons' complicated past. But this one feels different. It feels personal. The world in 1944 was full of secrets, quiet sacrifices, and a lot of people pretending everything was fine when it wasn't. If that doesn't sound like the perfect setting for a dramatic return, nothing does. In the end, Yellowstone 1944 isn't just a history lesson. It's the moment where truth and legend collide, where family secrets rise back to the surface, and where a character we never thought we'd see again could walk back into the story, changing it forever. Sometimes the past doesn't stay buried. It waits. It waits for the right moment to return, not as a memory, but as a force that changes everything. In the case of Yellowstone 1944, that moment is almost here. Whispers are growing louder. Theories are tightening, and now more than ever, fans believe that someone once thought lost to time, a major figure from the Dutton story, is coming back. Not in flashbacks, not in name only, but truly, meaningfully, and with purpose. What makes this so powerful is that it's completely in line with how Taylor Sheridan builds his stories. He doesn't just drop surprises for the sake of it. Every return, every twist, every echo from the past means something. And when it comes to 1944, everything is pointing to one thing, a return that will shake the very core of the Dutton legacy. But the biggest question isn't just who, it's how. Let's start with the most likely, and perhaps the most haunting possibility, Spencer Dutton. When we last saw him in 1923, Spencer was a broken man trying to find his way home. He'd seen too much, lost too much, and was walking a tightrope between survival and redemption. His journey across continents, driven by love and loyalty, gave the series its emotional weight. But what happened after? The show left us in suspense, and since then fans have speculated about whether Spencer ever truly made it back to Montana. Was he reunited with his family? Did the weight of his trauma catch up with him? Or did he disappear into history, his story unfinished? Yellowstone 1944 could be the answer to that silence. It gives the perfect opening for an older Spencer, maybe scarred, maybe hiding, to step into the story once again. Imagine him, showing up after decades in the shadows, carrying secrets no one wants to hear. His return would bridge two generations, connecting 1923 with 1944, and bringing back the emotional depth that made fans love him in the first place. If he's alive, he may hold the key to understanding everything that followed, maybe even something the modern-day Duttons don't know. But Spencer isn't the only name circling this storm of speculation. Some believe the return could be even more shocking, the voice of Elsa Dutton, possibly through letters, journals, or even narration. Yes, Elsa died in 1883, but her spirit, her words, and her view of the world became a guiding force for the family. Her death marked the land. Her voice told the story. Sheridan has already shown how he likes to use narration to connect timelines. If 1944 is truly a turning point in the Dutton story, bringing back Elsa's perspective could serve as a poetic anchor, a return that doesn't need a living body, just a voice, a memory, that still shapes the land and those who walk it. Then there's the wild card, John Dutton Sr., the young version. We've seen glimpses of him in 1923, but 1944 would be his time to fully step into the spotlight. He could be the man tasked with holding the ranch together during one of the most unstable times in history. Maybe he's the one who had to welcome back broken war heroes. Maybe he had to make a brutal choice to protect the land. If Sheridan cast someone powerful in this role, it could tie everything from 1883 through 2023 into one continuous line of fire, blood, and grit. What makes this mystery even juicier is that Yellowstone has never played by the rules. Characters we thought we understood have turned out to be liars, victims, or even villains. That means the returning figure might not be the hero we remember. What if Spencer's return brings pain instead of peace? What if the truth Elsa once wrote down ends up hurting the family instead of inspiring them? What if John Dutton Sr. made decisions that others in the family never forgave? This isn't a feel-good reunion story. This is Yellowstone. And in this world, love always comes with loss, and power always comes with a price. The return of a major character in 1944 isn't just a surprise to get fans talking. It's a move that could completely change how we view the entire Dutton legacy. It's a chance to uncover truths that were buried for a reason, and to show how those truths shaped everything that came next. Because in this universe, the past doesn't die, it waits, and it always comes back when it's needed the most and are feared the most. Some stories change with time. Others are built to change time itself. Yellowstone 1944 isn't just telling us what happened between the world wars. It's aiming to redefine the foundation of the Dutton family saga. And with the return of a major character on the horizon, we're not just talking about a twist. We're talking about a total shift in the meaning of everything we thought we knew. The Duttons have always been portrayed as a family bound by land, loyalty, and legacy. But what if that legacy was based on something incomplete, or even false? A returning figure, someone from the family's past who vanished, was presumed dead, or written out of the official story, has the power to pull back the curtain on that legacy and reveal what's really behind it. This kind of return isn't just emotional, it's structural. It forces every generation after to look in the mirror and ask, were we protecting the truth or hiding from it? Let's take Spencer Dutton again as an example. If he returns in 1944, now aged and weathered, his arrival wouldn't just be about tying up loose ends from 1923. It could expose secrets, truths about what really happened. After he came home from war, what was lost, what was buried, and what lines were crossed to protect the ranch. His return could make us question the myth of the strong, silent Dutton male, the ideal we've seen passed down from Jacob to John, and even to Case and Jamie. If Spencer walked away from the family for a reason, if he was exiled, or if his truth was erased from their story, then suddenly the Dutton name doesn't mean what we thought it did. Now imagine if it's Elsa, not as a living character, but through her writings. If her voice returns in 1944, narrating a new chapter or unveiling pages no one knew existed, She could become the emotional compass of the series. Her view of the world, full of poetry and pain, might contrast sharply with the hardened, survival-driven choices being made in this new era. Her return wouldn't just be beautiful, it could be deeply challenging. Maybe she questions the land obsession. Maybe her ideals were ignored. Her words could shine light on a moral crossroads the family has long forgotten. That's the kind of return that doesn't just decorate the story, it rewrites its meaning. And then there's the possibility that someone new steps into the spotlight, a forgotten Dutton, someone who was cast out or overlooked. In every family there are names that vanish from the record, faces that disappear from the photos. What if 1944 is where one of those missing branches of the family tree suddenly comes back into the frame? Someone who claims a birthright. Someone who remembers a betrayal. Someone who tells a very different version of the Dutton story. This wouldn't just change the past, it would send shockwaves into the present, because Sheridan isn't just building one show at a time. He's crafting a timeline, a mythology. The actions of a character in 1944 could directly explain why a character like John Dutton in Yellowstone fights so hard, and why he might be wrong. The return of a long-lost family member could even open the door for new characters in the current timeline, people with blood ties the Duttons never acknowledged. That's how deep this could go. And don't forget the psychological impact. The Duttons, for all their toughness, are driven by fear. Fear of losing the land, fear of outsiders, fear of weakness. But what if the returning character exposes that fear as something older and deeper than any land deal? What if that fear was passed down from a moment in 1944, a decision made in secret, a brother turned enemy, a truth too painful to face? That's not just dramatic. That's epic storytelling. That's legacy writing its own curse. The real power of a return isn't the surprise. It's the consequences. What happens after the return is what defines the moment. And if Sheridan truly goes through with bringing back a major character in Yellowstone, 1944, we're looking at a moment that will echo across every spin-off, every generation, and every heartbeat in the Yellowstone universe. Because this isn't just a return, it's a reckoning.